Hello and welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here then hi, my name's Zoe. I post true crime videos and sometimes I post some little bit of different sort of content like fashion and makeup here and there. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button and also turn on that bell so you're notified every single time that I post. So today's video is an episode of my Where Are You series, but it is also an episode of Summer of True Crime collabs along with Joshua Miles, and there's loads of different creators that are involved in this. It's so amazing. I've been so excited to do my collab. There are some amazing people and they'll all be linked down below who's involved in this. Literally I cannot talk about these creators enough because they're amazing, and Joshua Miles himself coming up with this. Joshua Miles is one of my good friends and has been one of my biggest supporters since I first started my channel, and now I'm nearly at 1,000 subscribers, which is crazy. So there is going to be this case on my channel, and there is also going to be a case on Joshua Miles' channel which will be linked down below, and he also has a full playlist of all the cases put together. I'm so excited to be a part of this, and if there is anybody by chance new to my channel, I'm so excited that you've decided to stick around and watch my video. So I'm going to give my usual disclaimer before jumping right into this video. I mean absolutely no disrespect to anybody that I talk about in this video, anybody involved with the case or anybody who's close to the case. I'm simply putting the information together from public sources to give the information out in a video online. Today we are going to be talking about Karlie Guse. Now I am pretty sure I'm probably going to pronounce that name wrong at some point in this video, as I am talking about a lot of information, and I'm really sorry if I do mistake the name or say it wrong. I'm just putting that out there right now. So let's jump right into today's case. Karlie Guse was born on the 13th of May 2002 to her parents Zach Guse and Lindsay Furley. Unfortunately, her parents did divorce when she was only 2 years old. After the divorce, Karlie did live with her mother up until she was around 10 years old, but then she decided to go and live with her father Zach in Bishop, California, with his new wife Melissa Guse. Melissa and Zach did go on to have 2 children of their own together, but they all did live happily together as one big family. Karlie was known as a sweet girl, and she was very popular, and she would quite easily make friends. She was always making people laugh, and everybody just knew Karlie. When Karlie was 16 years old, the family decided to move, and they moved to another town which was about 20 minutes away from where they was living, and this town was called Chalfant. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. So Chalfant in California is a quiet place, and it is surrounded by wooded areas and nature reserves, and it is a really beautiful place to live. Because they hadn't moved far, Karlie was able to stay in the same school district and attend the same school. And she was still able to socialise with the same friends that she had already spent most of her teenage years socialising with. So Karlie didn't really have an issue with this move at all. She was quite happy. In the months leading to the move, Melissa had said that Karlie was her usual self. She was normal, she was happy, and she never said that she was unhappy. There was nothing different at all.
On the 12th of October 2018, Karlie told her father and her stepmother that she was going to the local park to play football with some friends. But it turns out that Karlie actually lied about where she was going that evening, and she was actually headed to a friend's house party. Whilst Karlie was at this party, she, along with her friends, drank alcohol and smoked marijuana. Early in the evening, Karlie told her boyfriend Donald that she wasn't feeling too well. So she decided to call Melissa at about 8 PM to see if she could come pick her up. When Melissa got to Karlie at about 8:30 PM, Melissa found Karlie wandering about the street. She seemed to be disorientated and her pupils were severely dilated. Karlie was quick to admit to her stepmom that she had been smoking marijuana as soon as she got into her stepmom's car. Melissa, her stepmom, then drove her home, and they got home at around 9 p.m. that night. Now, Karlie's father, Zach, said that when Karlie got home, she was extremely disorientated. She seemed to be very scared and very paranoid. Karlie didn't want to spend any time with her parents and was clearly afraid of her mobile phone. Now, Zach's first thought as a protective father was that Karlie had potentially done some other drug along with the marijuana that her boyfriend might have given her. But later on in this case, her boyfriend actually confirms that she had only smoked weed at this party and she hadn't taken any other substances. Karlie's parents finally managed to convince Karlie to go up and to get into bed to try and sleep off the marijuana. But Karlie didn't want to do that. All she wanted to do was stay up and paint her nails and read parts of the Bible. Now, Melissa thought that Karlie was acting crazy. It was so out of character for Karlie to be doing this. So Melissa thought this would be a good learning opportunity for Karlie, so she pulled out her mobile phone and started recording what Karlie was doing, just so she could show her the next morning why she shouldn't smoke marijuana. And that was all in the hopes that she would never do drugs again. Now, Melissa wasn't recording Karlie's face, she was just recording the audio by putting her phone on record in her pocket.
In the audio, Melissa states that Karlie was eating a salad, and Karlie actually called this salad the devil's lettuce. And Karlie also said, "I messed up today," and Melissa just simply replied with, "We all make mistakes." There has been a lot of controversy and rumours around this audio, which I will be talking about later in this case. So I just want to apologise as well when I'm talking about this audio because of the controversy and rumours. If something is incorrect or not totally accurate, please let me know down below. Please don't take it to heart. I'm literally going off the sources that I have. In the audio, Melissa was just trying to get Karlie to lie down and go to bed. Allegedly, Karlie replies with, "No, you're going to kill me." Melissa replies with, "Why would I kill you?" And then Karlie replies with, "I don't know, I'm just thinking of demonic stuff and I don't know why." Melissa says that Karlie had asked her to stay in bed with her while she went to sleep, and Melissa agreed. So then her brothers went to bed, and shortly after, Melissa and Karlie followed them. Initially, Melissa claimed that she stayed with Karlie until she fell asleep. She then left in the early hours of the morning to go and sleep in her own bed, and then went to check on Karlie at around 5:30 a.m. When she checked on Karlie at around 5:30 a.m, she said that Karlie was fine and she was sleeping. So Melissa went back to bed, and then she got back up around 7:15 and went to check on Karlie again. But for some reason, Karlie was not in her bed. At first, Melissa and Zach just assumed that she may have just gone for a walk, as her purse and her phone was still at home. So they took it upon themselves to just have a drive around the neighbourhood and see if they could find her. At 9:30 a.m, they still hadn't found Karlie, so Zach decided to call Karlie's mum, Lindsay, and just let her know that Karlie had gone missing. And then he proceeded to call the authorities and officially report Karlie as missing.
Police didn't put out an Amber Alert in this case because there was no suspicious activity and there was nothing to indicate that she had been kidnapped. Now, investigators did conduct a full-scale search of her family home and found nothing really of any significance besides the fact that her personal belongings still remains there, which doesn't quite correlate with what happens when somebody runs away from home. They tend to take their personal belongings with them, such as their mobile phone and their purse. Now, Karlie's boyfriend did technically contaminate the crime scene, you could say, as he searched the entire family house right after he found out that Karlie had gone missing. He told investigators that Karlie's phone was actually on her nightstand, but when the police went and searched the house for evidence, they actually found her phone was on the kitchen counter downstairs. Now, that gives the possibility that somebody had gone through her phone, perhaps her father or her stepmom. Neighbours quickly banded together to begin searching the local area in the hopes that they could find any clues or evidence that could lead to Karlie's safe recovery. And it was during this neighbourhood search that 3 witnesses actually came forward. All 3 witnesses claimed that Karlie had been wearing grey sweatpants and a white t-shirt. They also claimed that she was headed towards Highway 6. And that particular highway was the main road into the local area. Investigators and forensics also located footprints near Highway 6 which they suspect to be that of Karlie's. Now, it immediately became suspicious to Karlie's parents actually that Karlie hadn't taken a coat with her. She'd taken no jumper or anything to keep her warm. And at that time of the year and that time of day, it would have been really quite cold out. Investigators also later discovered that the doors in Karlie's family home hadn't been locked on the night that she went missing, and the family dog also hadn't alerted to any presence or stranger in the house. The sheriff's office conducted a wide-scale and thorough search of the local area, but nothing came of it. They couldn't find anything. They also decided that they would search a desert which was near the area, thinking that maybe she'd been high and potentially intoxicated and wandered into the desert, gotten lost, and potentially even succumbed to her environment. But unfortunately, the sheriff's office found no trace of Karlie in the desert either. Karlie's family and friend were quick to take to social media to start publicizing their loved one's disappearance and try to find any kind of information that could lead to her safe return. They set up a Facebook page and a Twitter account so that people could begin to share pictures of Karlie across the internet. They also shared Karlie's last movements and what she was last seen wearing so that anyone with any information could potentially come forward that could help solve this case. On the 19th of March 2019, earlier this year, the police announced that Karlie's case was still being treated as a missing person case. They also announced that they were working alongside the family and a private investigator to try and discover any more evidence that could lead them to Karlie's location. They went on to say that they are investigating every single lead and tip that came in to their police hotline. And as there was no suspicious evidence found, they didn't treat this like a homicide or an abduction, just a missing persons case.
The controversy around this case really started when Melissa and Zach had took part in a true crime podcast. They took part in this podcast to try and raise some media attention on Karlie's case. Zach was asked how did he know that his daughter was paranoid, and he just didn't know how to answer, and he just said, "I don't know, I just knew." When he was given examples by the interviewer such as, was she doing this or did she look like that, Zach then took them exact answers and said, "I knew she was paranoid because of this." He was just relaying the interviewer's answers back to the interviewer. It was as if he couldn't answer anything himself. He was either being prompted by the interviewer or prompted by Melissa. Or Melissa would even just talk over him and take over the whole conversation, even if a question was directed at Zach. Also, Melissa's story changed a lot. Like I said, she initially said that she waited until Karlie went to sleep, she then left the room and then came back in the early hours to check on her. But during this interview and during Facebook Lives on her profile, the story was just different, and every time the story was changing ever so slightly. She said that she had slept in Karlie's bed all night, and then she changed it to she'd slept in Karlie's bed for majority of the night before going back into her own bed. It's very confusing to try and understand why her story keeps changing. It's one of those things, how do you forget where you were sleeping that night? Also, they had no clue at all what clothes Karlie was wearing when she went missing. Melissa had said Karlie was last seen in blue jeans and she had gone missing in these blue jeans. But when the information from the witnesses started to come to light, at first Melissa said that that couldn't be Karlie. The witnesses hadn't seen Karlie, as Karlie never wore sweatpants. When asked what Karlie went to bed in, Melissa answered that Karlie went to bed in a t-shirt and her underwear, so it is totally possible that Karlie, when she woke up, put a pair of sweatpants on and then left the house. In this interview, Melissa did state that Karlie did own grey sweatpants, but she said she was sure that Karlie would be wearing the skinny blue jeans, as that's what Karlie wore all the time. This just makes me feel that the whole situation is a little sketch.
Now we're going to discuss some of the theories surrounding Karlie's disappearance. Now I've got to remind you that we are trying to stay as respectful as possible in this case, so some of the theories we won't be discussing simply due to the absurdity of them and simply to the fact that they are just downright disrespectful. If you do want to research those theories, they are freely available on the internet. Now the first theory in this case is also the most unlikely theory, and that is the theory that Karlie had somehow developed some kind of a drug addiction and she had decided to run away, or she had decided to just move away and run away from her family and her life. Now that to me seems very, very far-fetched, simply due to the fact that she said that she'd only smoked weed twice in her life. Now I'm not saying that weed is like a gateway drug, but usually when you do drugs, like you start with weed and work your way up, you know what I mean? So that just seems very unlikely to me that she'd become some kind of a drug addict. Also, I believe her parents would have noticed if there was any change in personality or change in behaviour at home, which correlates with what happens when someone becomes addicted to drugs. Now, the fact that this event was only the second time that Karlie had smoked marijuana, perhaps it was a different strain from the first time, and it had different effects on her this time, which would have caused her to act in the strange and peculiar way that she did. Now, Karlie was actually very, very close with her mum, and if she was having troubles at home with her father, it would have been easy for her to just move out and move in with her mum. So this kind of goes against the theory that she decided to just up and walk away and start a new life elsewhere and just run away. Also, she left all of her possessions at home. She left her mobile phone, she left her purse, she didn't take any money, she didn't take any clothes with her. It just doesn't add up. This meant that she had no way to communicate with any of her friends to see if she could, you know, go crash on their sofa, and she had no money to buy any food or drinks or book a hotel room or anything to that effect. And to me, that just kind of rules out the theory that she was addicted to drugs, or the theory that she decided on her own accord to run away. Now this does lead into the next theory, which is that she decided to run away while she was high. Perhaps she got into her mind some kind of paranoia that everyone hated her, or maybe she just decided to simply go on a walk, which is something that you would do perhaps if you were high, to see nature, and perhaps something happened along the way that led her to disappear, or something with ill intent happened to her. Now the next theory is a very likely theory, and it's also the scariest theory, and that's the theory that she was abducted. However, there is actually next to no evidence to support this theory in the slightest. She wasn't seen being abducted. When she was seen by those 3 witnesses, they didn't say she was with anyone else. She just seemed to be going on a walk, and that kind of going on a walk while she was high, that kind of supports my own personal theory that she had just, you know, decided to go on a walk, try and like clear her thoughts, perhaps she wanted to see the stars, that kind of thing, and something happened to her along the way, or she lost her way and succumbed to her environment. And given the fact that she was last seen walking towards a main road at around 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning, it seemed very, very likely that if she was kidnapped or abducted, that someone would have seen something. And further to this, Karlie also lived in a pretty rural area, and it was quite a small town too, so it was one of those communities where everyone kind of knew of everyone else, and that made the possibility of someone abducting her kind of a bit less. However, it is important to note that in these communities where they have high rates of safety, it is often argued that those are also the most dangerous places, because criminals may look at those places as an opportunity to strike.
The next theory is regarding the family. Now, since this case broke, there has been a lot of tension between family members, and there has been a sort of feud brewing between certain family members such as Melissa, Zach and Lindsay. They both have separate Facebook support groups, support networks and also separate GoFundMes. Also, the lives that Melissa did to Facebook shortly after Karlie disappeared were bringing up a lot of questions and leaving people wondering some strange things about Melissa. There is no indication that the relationship between Melissa and Karlie was a bad relationship or there was any bad feelings between the two. But this theory is something that is strongly believed by Lindsay, Karlie's mother. She believes that Melissa does know what happened to Karlie. Melissa would not let anybody listen to the audio that was taken that night. Also, her story changed and changed and changed. And she would also change her story about what the audio actually contained and how long this audio was. Originally she had said the audio was about 8 minutes long, and then it turned out that the audio was actually 23 minutes long. She did eventually let Lindsay listen to the audio, but she did only let Lindsay listen to these 8 minutes. She didn't let her listen to the full audio. Lindsay also said that Karlie was crying out for her mum in the audio, which absolutely broke Lindsay's heart. She also said that Karlie was requesting that Melissa call 911, and Karlie was obviously upset. You could tell she was upset from this audio. It was later revealed that Karlie was actually asking Melissa, "Am I okay?" on the audio, and Melissa said yes, and then Karlie says, "Would you call 911 if I wasn't okay?" And then Melissa obviously says yes. So it does seem that Karlie was very distressed. Melissa did allow police to listen to the audio, but she strictly said that nobody else was to listen to it. She even stood by this when her and Zach actually featured on the Dr. Phil show. Dr. Phil explained that he had the relevant training in the certain areas and that he may be able to pick out something from this audio, or he may be able to notice what sort of drugs that Karlie could have been on that night. So Melissa was reluctant at first, but she eventually did allow Dr. Phil to listen to this audio, but she made it very clear to him that he was not to repeat anything from that audio. Why is she so secretive around this audio? What has she got to hide? What is so bad about this audio that nobody can listen to it? This just may be totally innocent, but this may be very suspicious as well. What do you think? Let me know down below. As I always do in these Where Are You videos, I'm going to give a full description of Karlie at the time she went missing, and I'll also leave all contact numbers of the people you would need to contact if you do have any information. I'll leave that information in the description box below. At the time of her disappearance, Karlie was around 5'7". She weighed around 110 pounds. She had long dark brown hair and she also had blue eyes. She was believed to be wearing a white t-shirt, grey sweatpants and also a pair of Vans. She was last seen heading in the direction of Route 6 north of Bishop. She may have been disorientated and she had no form of contact. She could not contact anyone as her mobile phone was at home. If you have any information at all, please contact the Mono Sheriff's Department and I will leave our contact numbers for them in the description box below. I will also link the podcast that Melissa and Zach did take part in down below, so then you can listen to it yourself and let me know what you think of that interview. I'll also link the missing people posters and also the Facebook groups as well, in case you do want to take a look into things a little further for yourself. So that is all for today's video, and that is all for my summer of true crime collabs. There is another video with me on Joshua Miles' channel. Please make sure you either head over there, or if you've come over here from his channel, a little bit confusing, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. I am trying so hard to hit 1,000 subscribers. I also have a Patreon as well. I'm not at all expecting you to be a Patreon, but you get some crazy little perks. You get extra videos from me, extra true crime videos. Who doesn't love that? Also, it'll help improve the lighting because I do need new lighting because I broke mine. But yeah, that is all for this video. I really hoped you enjoyed this episode of Where Are You? I will link the full playlist down below. Please give the video a massive thumbs up and I shall see you in my next video. Bye.